Cardinal Nation, and thank you for joining us. My name is Julia Cook for this second edition of the Cardinal Beat podcast. Joining us today is head baseball coach Ryan Lewicki. Ryan, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
Let's just get right down to the meat of it. You are not the most athletic person in your family.
That is correct. That is absolutely 100% correct.
So your sister is a professional hockey player. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that dynamic.
Yeah, she is what they call the golden child in our family. She took after me, played hockey at a young age, and she got really talented at it really quickly. It's weird because you think of West Virginia, you don't think ice hockey, you don't think big names of ice hockey, but something she grew to love, and it took her to play college athletics. Played her 4 years at Adrian College, was an All-American there for 4 years, was really good, and got the opportunity to play professional ice hockey. In the league, I think it's called the NWHL, the National Women's Hockey League. Nice. And this will be her third year. She played 1 year with Buffalo, 1 year with New Jersey, and now she's going in for her third year of campaigning. So she's loved it to death. I know my parents have loved it. It's been a great experience for me also just to be there for her and support her through this thing. But it's just, you're right. I'm not the most athletic child in our family, and I've learned to accept it up till now, you know. So, but I always tell her she gets the blue check mark next to her name. I don't on Twitter, so that's something she has. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yep.
This past season was your first head coaching position. And I know that you were kind of hired a little bit late, hired in February. The season started just a couple of days later, your first game. Tell me how that impacted your entire season.
I think it was tough. The transition was really challenging. The biggest challenge was, again, starting here February 6th and the first game being a week later on February 13th. Wow. Down in the Carolinas. And I think with us being such a young team last year, you know, with 35 guys and 18 being freshmen a year ago, the challenging part was getting them to instill that trust again into the next coach. When you're that young and that inexperienced and you put all that trust into somebody else and it doesn't pan out, it's very challenging. And then for me was not changing the culture right away within the first 7 days. Was it taking 7 days to just learn your players, learn where they come from, learn the background of them, get to know them a little bit outside of baseball, and then watch baseball with them for 7 days. Once that finished, you know, it was about changing. It was about instilling what I want to do day in and day out, getting our culture, getting our foundation, getting who we are as a baseball program instilled. But again, very challenging in the sense of not having all fall to prepare, you know, even Christmas time to make sure we're doing the right things, you know, sure. Being to where we need to be come February and hopefully playing through May. And it was a tough year. It was tough for the players, tough for the coaches, and I think they all learned a lot about themselves as a person, how to deal with that adversity at a young age for a lot of them. And then at the end of the day, I think they still did a great job of getting through the year, getting through the situations they were put in and dealt with, and hopefully taking those experiences with them as they moved on or stayed within our program.
There is some turnover from last season to this season. If you want to kind of explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, when I walked in the door February 6th, there was 35 baseball players, 4 seniors, so at the time we could have had around 30 to 31 returners. Between, you know, the coaching changes, kids just not buying into what I want this program to be, what I want this program to get to, you kind of could tell a lot of kids weren't going to stay on board with the program moving forward. At the end of the day, you wish them the best and help them any way you can, and just, you know, say thank you for your time, and we'll move on. And that's what we've done here. As of today, you know, we got our final commit actually last night. So we're actually right back at 35 baseball players here coming this next week. So with maybe a few more in January signed up, we're going to be different than I think this program's ever been. We're not going to be very young. We kind of skipped an age in the sense of recruiting. I had 18 freshmen. I now have 18 junior college transfers coming in. So we went from not being, you know, experienced to really experienced. So the excitement's there. You know, the new brand of baseball should be here now. So that's the exciting part. Turnover was tough, but we've rebuilt. And my job now is to keep moving forward with this program and getting it to where I think it can be in a sense of, you know, a championship caliber of baseball.
Wonderful. So when you do recruit, how do you do that? Are you recruiting locally? Just tell Let us know a little bit about that process.
I think I would love to recruit locally more. I think the tough part right now for me is there's a school 10 minutes away that we don't like to say here that, that gets a lot more right now local players. And Coach Burkle and I are really good friends. He was really pro me taking this job over because we knew together we could keep local kids within our programs here. So number one, I would love to start growing a more local campaign of players into my program. With this class coming in, that's not the case. I think we only have probably 2 kids locally coming in, 2 OVAC kids coming in. What we've done is we've really gone regionally and gotten kids from all neck of the woods, as we call it in baseball. We have kids coming clear as far as Illinois, Texas, Florida, Philly, clear out all the way to Puerto Rico. We have a pitcher coming from there. So we've gone and done a really good job of filling pieces to the puzzle, as we call it. And I don't care where kids are from, to be honest with you. There's some intangibles they'd have to fit into this program, but in the sense of where I go to get kids, I'll go to any neck of the wood, to any state, to any place to go find the right baseball player to fit into our culture and the mission of Wheeling University.
What does a good practice look like to you? What are you looking for in one of these recruits that you're going to bring onto your team?
So the first thing, I'll touch practice here, but the biggest thing my kids have to understand is there's really 4 to 5 things I look for when I recruit them, and I bring them here or I don't, is they have to be high quality, high character kids. Have to come, wanting to learn the game, wanting to love the game, wanting to do the right things here. Those are a big part of this program. If we're not high quality, we're not high character kids, then maybe they're just not fit for this program, number one. The second thing is they got to be legitimate Division II athletes. We're at a university in a great area and a great conference where we can appeal to what we call legitimate Division II caliber of baseball players. And those are things I have to go get, and I think over the past few years, I think that's lacked a little bit, the sense of getting that legitimate Division II caliber kid, and I think now it's going after them more. And then the other 2 big tasks are they have to love baseball. You have to love it. Any college coach will tell you it is a job within itself, college athletics. You add let's say baseball to it, school to it, it's 2 jobs. It's a lot of your time. It's the grind and what we call it. So you have to love the game to be here. And then I want kids that want to be here. That's the biggest thing. That want to be a part of what we're doing here at Wheeling University. That want to be a Cardinal. That want to move forward with branding and changing the era of baseball at this university. So those are the 5 intangibles you have to fit into the program first off. And I think most of them get that. I say those things to them and they're like, that's me. And I'm like, well, that's good, because I hope so, because if not, you probably won't fit into this program. But with practice, it's building a championship caliber. I want guys to understand, in baseball, it can get very bland because a lot of times some programs just show up, hit batting practice, go home. Those are things I don't want here. I want competition day in and day out. I want kids that are 3rd on a depth chart to bring value to number 2 and number 1. And I want the number 1 kid on the depth chart to make sure that value at 2 and 3 is still challenging them for the first spot. Competition breeds excellence, and that's the best way for me to make sure day in and day out we're getting max effort, max energy, and max intensity out of this program. Won't be long. I'm not going to be a guy that stays out there for 3 hours to 4 hours at a time. I like 90 to 120 minutes. I like max effort, and I like guys that just want to compete and bust it, and that's what we're going to do with this program.
What are some of the things that you had done last season that you think that you would do differently this season?
Sure. I think the fact of getting a little bit more structured, a little bit more organized would have helped last year so quick. I think last year when I got here, I really put emphasis on not winning baseball games, but getting to know the student athlete that were part of the program. And I think I could have done more in the sense of practice planning, in the sense of weight room training, in the sense of other, baseball specific areas to really help us get ready quicker. But I made it clear when I got hired that I want to learn my players. I have to know them. I can't, it's just like any business. You can't expect people to put all their trust and effort into you as a boss or as a head coach or in any situation like that if they don't know you and if you don't know them. And I think that was the biggest takeaway reflecting on this past year was just, I put so much emphasis on learning and getting to know them that it lacked baseball. Now, does that mean we didn't do anything baseball? No, we did baseball practice. We went through, study sessions, do all the stuff we have to do in baseball. I probably could have just put a little bit more emphasis on winning. And that was something that, looking back on, I should have done probably sooner. Now, this year moving forward, winning's the mentality. It's what we expect now. Just showing up and playing baseball games and being in baseball games will no longer in this program be okay. This program now, with the caliber and with the staffing we have here and with the resources we have at this university, baseball is an expectation to win every time. It hasn't happened in the past so recently, but it will now. And if not, we'll get the right kids in here to help us change that and get this name of baseball back on the map for us.
You just brought on a new pitching coach, I understand?
His name is Matthew Rivera. Matt is from Austin, Texas. Really young, energetic, talks a lot, just like me, which is why I like him. And he's got a really good background in pitching. He's young. He went to LSU, played a little bit at LSU, and has just a good knack. And I think he's a guy that will, be right next to me and helping me and him learn this new system, this new group of guys, and change what we want here. Any program, anytime you change culture, you got to change it from the top down. And I had to change, which means the coaches next to me have to change, and we got to adapt. And that's the only way, just like a business. If you don't adapt, you're going to die. As a coaching staff and as a program, I have to adapt how we do things, the caliber of kids we bring in, and the planning that goes into it. So we've done that with the kids. We're doing that with the coaches. Now we got to do it with our planning. So bringing those all together, hopefully, instills a good, successful Division II baseball program here.
Your first coaching job was not actually in baseball. It was in basketball, and you have a unique tie to one of our biggest alums of the school.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So John Beeline which is a 75 grad of Wheeling Jesuit University. His son Patrick, who now is the head basketball coach at Niagara University up above Buffalo, he was just named the head coach at West Virginia Wesleyan College. This would have been back in 2013 when I got done playing. And I wanted to get into college coaching. I knew it. And I was going to just volunteer for baseball, but didn't really have any responsibilities, just kind of was there. And I just met him one day at the office, and he was looking for a roommate. Next thing you know, we start to live together. He lets me do some of his operational work. Really, I don't have any experience in basketball. I didn't play basketball. I knew the general rules to it, but in the sense of any practice planning, any recruiting, I did nothing. I was just there. I was honestly just somebody there probably to keep him calm and help him whatever he needed, whether that was picking up balls or doing his travel for a weekend. It was really it. So we have built, a really good friendship and a relationship, and he's also been a really good mentor for me. His first head job was 28. My first head job was 28. And seeing where he's gone the last 6-7 years and where I hope to get, in time is a great relationship that we've built together and a bond. And then, with his dad's just, a big name connection guy. And it's neat that in 2013 when I lived with Pat, I was here on the campus at Wheeling Jesuit when his dad got inducted into the Hall of Fame. His dad played basketball here, is a big alum here, and being here in 2013, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I didn't live in Wheeling then. So I came here with Pat, we met his dad, did the ceremony in McDonough in the arena there, went to Undo's afterwards with all of his buddies he played with that were here for it. And it was a neat experience. It was the first time actually meeting John and everything. And he's exactly what they say he is. He's a great person, he's an honest man, and he loves people and he loves basketball. And he loves Wheeling. And I think we just, got to get him back into it and get him back around. And now that he's at Cleveland, now he's a Cav, so hopefully it's a few-hour drive to get him down here every now and then just to come visit and be a hopeful alum that we want him to be.
Wouldn't that be great?
It'd be amazing having him here again.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time and meeting with me today. I really very much appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us again for this edition of the Cardinal Beat podcast. Join us next week when we will be interviewing Diana Vargo, a faculty member. Take care.